What's going on behind the scenes and off the microphone at the Magic Word podcast? Hear what listeners and guests are saying that isn't on the podcast this week on The Magic Whisper.
Hello, this is Scott Wells, and it's time for another Magic Whisper. That's when I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's been going on behind the scenes and some of the things that you don't get to hear about on the podcast. Now, this last weekend, I had posted several reviews, or I should say reports, of the 3 days of the convention from Magic at the Beach. And I've got to tell you about some of the cool things that they had. First of all, I don't know how they can do that. For about a $250 registration fee, you're going to be getting a meal. They have an open bar on Friday and Saturday night. The shows are outstanding. They have several dealers, some from other parts of the world who brought in a lot of stuff, and we're going to talk about that a little bit here in this episode. Anyhow, I don't know how they can afford to do that, but and also they had like right at about 100 people, including the performers and the organizers as well. But one of the cool things they give you is this nice little swag bag, and every year they're kind of known for their swag bag. And this year they had, let's see what was in here. I haven't had a chance to actually go through it. There's a little puzzle. It's like a metal puzzle, and the idea is try to put these together, and you can swap these, change them with some of the people. Maybe if you like theirs a little bit better than what you had received it. A chain decapitator, which is like the rope through neck, but using a chain. Then there was, let's see what else we got over here. Where does a magician hide in plain sight? It's one of those things, where you're opening it and in different ways, and the magician hides, I'm assuming. There we go. Anyhow, that was another little puzzle that came in the bag, and we also then received, everybody got a nice close-up pad to practice your magic, and then there was also a thing that came from Paul Stone, who was one of the performers. It was a nice little pendant, or a pin, I should say, that says Magic Cares. And that was his thing. That was a charity that was working with Siegfried and Roy to help raise some money. And that came compliments of Paul Stone. And then one of the cool things, I think, further was the program that they had. Now, the program is not like just telling you who's on and everything, but it was a program telling you about, telling you tricks and manuscripts, I should say, monographs. So there's Jaffo, everybody who was there contributed something. Chris Blackmore and Michael Paul and Dan Sperry and Charles Peacock and Charles Bach and Losander. Everybody has tricks and everything. So basically you kind of get a settled free lecture notes with some unique tricks that are in this. And I got a cool ball cap. Everybody got a ball cap that was kind of like the last day surprise. I mean, that you got a coin. You don't know what the coin is going to be for. And on the last day, they couldn't top it except with this. They topped it with the topper. So that was pretty darn cool. So anyhow, that was Magic at the Beach. And I've got to say, it was really a great convention. You can listen to the reports on it to find out some of the people who were there and why it was so great. But I want to tell you, I actually bought more stuff there at this convention this year than I have at the last 15 conventions I've attended. Yeah. I mean, including Magic Live, the last 2 Magic Lives. I mean, I bought more stuff here than I did at the Magic Lives. I went to Blackpool, more stuff I bought here at this. So all those other conventions had things also that were very impressive, and I picked them up and I put it back down. I wasn't sure if it was something that I could really use or not, but there were things here that I just knew that I was going to be able to use in my performance. So I want to just share a few of those things with you that I had purchased while I was there. Oh, but I guess I should say, by the way, too, at Magic Texas, I got another little thing, which was this donut box that Gustavo Raley was selling. And the cool thing about that is I thought, since I like Dunkin' Donuts, as most of you know, you can have, show a bunch of different kind of donuts, glazed and sparkles and sprinkles and different kinds of donuts of whatever that you might like. And then you turn them all down. And so I said, stop or whatever. And whenever they do, then you would stop, let's say at this one. And so you got a donut selection out of all the rest of those. So you put that select the donut that you want inside there. And I thought as an addition, it'd be kind of nice to put like a Dunkin' Donut rewards card inside there, like you're going to pay for that. So you send that into Dunkin', and then of course, just a snap of the finger, because it's magically delicious that it comes back out that you get the donut that you had requested. So there is your donut, and I got some of those sprinkles, and there's your receipt as well as the card. So the receipt tells you how much money you have left on your card. Yeah, just a nice little addition, I think, to that. But that was by Gustavo Rayleigh. I thought was a nice little thing that I can use. I'm doing when I do Santa Claus. It would be something kind of fun, a little bit different. And this was another little thing that I picked up then at the convention. This was a thing. It's called the Light of God, and this was being sold there by one of the dealers. And the cool thing is that whenever that you would pick it up, then it's going to light. If you change hands with it, then it goes off. So it only whenever that you happen to pick it up with the one hand, then it stays lit. Wait a minute, it was the wrong hand. So it stays lit on this hand, but not this one. And so wait a minute, if I just kind of place it there, point at it, that's fine, and then blow it out. So that's called the Light of God. This is something that Chris Capehart had at Abbott's get together, and he could have sold 1 million of them. In fact, the dealer who was there, who was selling them, sold a bunch of those and get rid of that, and sold out of them. But he happened to be there, and it's like, I want one of those. Very cool. Light of God. So that is one thing that I got. Another thing that I picked up when I was there, this is a clever idea from Greg Gleason that was called The State of Shock. It's a beautiful, wonderful idea having to do with an invisible deck. And instead of 52 cards, you have 50 cards. And that's because there are 50 states in the Union. And so it's an invisible deck that makes sense from the standpoint of having all of the cards that have names of the states on them. So all these cards all have states on them. And in fact, the gag you could do that got with it, so it's like you named a state. I'm not going to go through all the routining and byplay, but basically that getting up to this point, whatever you said, Colorado, yeah, I've got it written right here. There's Colorado. It's just a 50-on-1 card. So whatever they would say, let's say in that case they happen to have said Colorado, then I would put that card down. So Colorado, let's see, would be perhaps the only one that happens to be upside down. That would be inside the deck. You see all these other cards with names of other states, but that, of course, is Colorado, and it has a shape of the state and everything on that. So that is just a cool thing that has just come out by Greg Gleason. It's in his lecture notes, and you probably contact Greg if you're interested in that. I certainly was. I think that is certainly a worker's trick. And speaking of workers, that's another thing that I purchased, and that was the hopping key. Now, the hopping key is really cool because it's like a hopping half. If you're familiar with the hopping half, and I have done that so many times, I'm on my third set of hopping half coins, and this works the same way from the standpoint that you would have, let's say there's a brass coin and a silver coin, so you would have the brass and the silver inside the hand, and you're going to take away one, which is going to be, let's say, the brass one. So I take away one, that goes into my pocket. That leaves me then with which color left? Silver. Exactly right. Well, you go to the next person and say, okay, so then I now have a silver key and then a gold key. And if I were to take away one silver one, which one would I have left? And they say the gold. And you say, well, that's right. That's going to be the one over here. So we'll take away one more time. If that's going to be, take away the brass one, that goes back over here. Then how many do we have left? Yeah, we've got then the two. Anyhow, you get the routine. It's very good, called Hopping Halves, one of the new products, or Hopping Key, I should say. Hopping Key. And it is a pretty darn cool trick and something I'm going to play with and definitely use. All right, so that was from a few different dealers, but then one that really impressed me then was Grum. That is Ari Phillips. Now, I booked Ari Phillips on a lecture tour around the United States, and because his name was not well known, he did not get a lot of cities that picked him up, and that's unfortunate because a lot of the cities I know wanted to see him after they had heard about how good his lecture was, and so maybe he might come back again sometime soon in the future, but his products also are absolutely amazing. He is a leather crafter, and so I picked up one of his leather cups. I want to show you that, which is pretty darn cool. And here it is. This is a nice leather cup. You can see how well that it's put together, how it's sewn together. On the inside, it's red. It's got a green around the outside with these gold stars. And I thought for what I do as Santa Claus that I'll be able to use this cup. And it has I have a couple of green balls. One of them is a chop ball. And he also, then it came with a couple of die. And then for a final load, I got a 11 as a load, which would work in there nicely. So that fits perfectly. And of course, since it is Christmas, the final load really would be first from Santa. You're going to be having a Christmas ornament. That would be the final load. So of course it doesn't fit in there, but it does fit in your hand quite nicely for the final load. So very well made, beautifully made. I love this a lot. So that's one thing that I had purchased. And then this other thing I think is really darn cool, and this is a something that is kind of it is a children's trick, and it's something that could use Pop Rocks candy, or in this case, because it was from England, it used something that's called, let me see out of here, it's called Sweet Repeat, but it's called Fizz Whiz. That's it. So it's Sweet Repeat, and it's just like a 3-card repeat, except using these Fizz Whiz. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's say, again, whenever that I have a bag of things that I'm taking for Christmas to the boys and girls around the world, and I already give somebody out 1, 2 of candies or toys or whatever, then I always still have left with me. I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 more candies or more toys to give away. It doesn't matter if I do give away. There's 1, 2. So those go then to a child, but I still will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And this goes on and on. You could do this about 6 times. You get the idea. And a Sweet Repeat, it's called, and that was by Grum Leather, Ari Phillips. Again, something that was in his lecture too. But it was very, very cool, and something that I know that I will be using for my Christmas shows. And if you want to actually buy the candy that you can give out to the children, it has a little code there that you can, that comes with this, that you can order that from England. So a lot of stuff. Again, I spent more money at this convention than I have the combined conventions, the last 15 that I've attended. And the reason I believe that I have purchased so much there is because these are things that I know fit my personality, something that I would work in my show. What I would like to know from you, if you want to write me at scott@themagicwordpodcast.com, are reasons why you buy tricks. Do you buy them on impulse? Is it something that someone had told you? Is it testimonial? Is it something you want to put in your act? Is it something at the moment you say, oh, that is pretty cool, I think I'll get it? And a lot of times those kinds of things, I think, just grow in your drawer, and you don't see that really again. So unfortunately, you don't get a lot out of that. That's not bad. It helps the dealers, and you have some fun with it. But are those things that you actually do in your show? Do you go and do them for your friends or coworkers? Do you actually show them at the Magic Club meetings? What is your reason for buying these things? And so again, that's my question: is what is it that motivates you to buy magic at magic conventions? And which things do you prefer to buy? And what are you looking for? So you can write me and let me know. I can read those in future Magic Whispers. Also on Facebook, some of you may have seen this picture then of Harriet Jacobson. Harriet was saying she would appreciate your thoughts and prayers. She's going through some difficult health issues. And without going into any details, I would just say that if you know Harriet, and most of the world seems to know Harriet, her birthday is going to be coming up here on September the 26th. If you would just drop her a note on her Facebook page and let her know that you're thinking of her, I think it's very important that she knows that she has a world of people behind her who know and love her. And if you've got a quick story that you can tell, that you can kind of put on your Facebook, on her Facebook post there, then she would certainly appreciate it. I know that she's kind of in the hospital, and so she's feeling a little bit depressed, more than just a little bit, because of her issues, health issues then right now, and so that she could really use that morale boost. If you want to drop her a note, if you know her personally, you can drop her then, I'm sure, a text. She's a little bit weak, and so may not be able to respond to your phone calls, but if you know her well enough, then you just pay proper respect. You know what to do. Well, this week we're going to be talking on the Magic Word Podcast with Al the Only, and I'm going to give you a little clip of some of what Al talks about here this week right now.
I started a restaurant. Oh, It was the second Carlos Murphy's that opened up. The first one was in Southfield, Michigan, if you know the geography, and the second one was in Warren, Michigan. The city of Warren tried to close us down. Mm-hmm. Why? Because I was using a law that permitted topless dancing.
What?
I was a novelty entertainer.
Oh, I see what you mean.
And I fell under the category of strippers and exotic dancers. So finally, the management of the restaurant went in front of the city fathers and said, "He does card tricks. He's not taking off his clothes, and if he did, you wouldn't want to see it." But seriously, they pled my case.
Yeah.
And so I guess a couple of council members came out to the restaurant and they bought them dinner, and I entertained them, and they realized that this really
is good.
But by allowing me to be there, they had to have this permit. Which meant at any time they could fire me and bring in the element the city was trying to keep out.
Thank you, Al. I appreciate that. And I hope that the rest of you will tune in to the Magic Word Podcast this Thursday for that episode with Al Leonley. He talks about a lot of really interesting things, and I'm not going to spoil it all here, let you kind of let it unfold, and you can listen to it once the podcast is released. I thank you guys very much for coming, and I also thank those people who do give me their magic whisper, like you've seen here. So I would appreciate you sending in your picture with you holding your finger for this as well. And if you hear of anything that you think might be of interest or some newsworthy thing for the magicians, please let me know. And just send me a whisper.
Share the whisper with other magicians and join us next time on The Magic Whisper. The Magic Whisper is a division of the MagicWordPodcast.com.